The new parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 Career Mode. Today we are here for round 3 for the Chinese Grand Prix, but first of all, if you missed round 2 for Bahrain, check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But we arrive here today in China at the Shanghai circuit with an upgrade on the car for the ICE, because it was the one development part on the durability side of things that we had no developments on, and we have to get that fixed because that power is rapidly degrading more than any of the others on the engine. But you can see for this race we don't really have that many upgrades. It's only really us, Force India there maybe, and also Williams bringing some upgrades, so not too many, and just a few slow movers at the moment. Obviously our upgrade isn't even performance related, so yeah, not really much going on. And in practice we actually had a damp FP1, at least it was wet at the start, so I tried to go out on the wet surface. I did some track acclimatization to see what the track was like, but the weather conditions were going to improve as the session went on, basically, and we were going to get the chance to go onto some dry tyres. And to be fair, I actually managed to squeeze in the whole program in FP1 because the rain wasn't there for long. But we did basically track acclimatization in the wet, and then we did the rest of the programs in the dry. And all in all, the car felt pretty damn good. I was very happy with it. We managed to do all the programs, which was very, very good for a change, and we didn't really struggle compared to Bahrain, where we didn't really do that many at all. And yeah, all in all, a successful session, and we actually got a solid amount of points on the board, and I had a decent setup on the car. It was one that I used to qualify back when we I think it was for the esports event, for AOR. When I signed off at AOR, there was a time trial test, and I had a setup saved up from then, so I used that. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it in the chat if anyone asks for it in the comments below, but until then I think it was something like 2.8 on the wings, I think, 8 on the ballast as well. Pretty extreme. It's a proper time trial setup, basically. And this was going to be a test as well to see what my tyre temperatures would be like around such a heavy circuit for tyre wear and also tyre temperatures. And I can say that after practice, it was pretty good. Very manageable. Again, no real issues here. The real concern around this circuit was tyre wear. I've started to realise this Mercedes does like to chew for its tyres a little bit quicker than the opposition, and I knew we was going to have a little bit of battle when it came to tyre wear, but hopefully it's not too much of an issue. There is rain expected both for qualifying and the race, so a bit of a mixed conditions weekend. For qualifying, there is rain expected later on in the session to Q3, if we were to even get to Q3, which is something we've not done in a long time. We've been getting knocked out in Q1 for a long time now, and we've not gone to Q2 for quite a while, actually, now I think about it. And also in the race tomorrow, there is rain expected as well, around halfway through the race. So the first half should be contested in the dry, and the second half contested in the wet. And also, we're actually going to see some full wet conditions right at the end of the Grand Prix, potentially. So there's going to be a lot of topsy-turvy weather all weekend long. And that also means, obviously, for setup purposes, we have to put a little bit more wing on the car just to be safe and have that extra downforce in case the wet weather does arrive. But delving into Q1, our first run of the session here on the Ultra Softs, you can see as we got up to the line, and we do go P14 momentarily through in the session, and I was very happy with that. Not a great lap, a 29.0. I definitely think I'd pace for more and just generally a better lap time, but all in all, not too shabby as we now go on to our second run. We're going to stay on board here for the entirety of the lap because we're currently P14 and pretty close to getting knocked out, so we need to see if things get worse for us. But a little bit of a small ramble. I'm going to make a separate video about this regarding my issues and my gripes over career mode, because I'll have a confession to make. I restarted this Q1 session about 15 times, and the same thing happened 14 out of those 15 times, the odd one out being this one. All 14 of those times I did the exact same lap time, between a 129.0 and a 28.8, give or take. And the AI were constantly in the same sort of lap times, which in itself are ridiculous. They're really superly strong lap times, and those lap times are posted whenever I return to garage or I do go to track via flying lap from the garage. And during that time when I'm not on the racetrack, the AI are glitched and they set stupid lap times. And what I did was, for this 15th and final attempt, I actually went for 2 runs in my Q1 lap. And really, I only did this lap because I wanted to avoid the AI doing something ridiculous when I, whether it be going to track, return to garage, simulating the session, all of that stuff. I basically had to just go out just to see what the AI were doing. And surprise, surprise, I went for a second attempt, and while I was circulating on the circuit, the AI tried to improve, and they couldn't match those ridiculous lap times. I improved by 0.2 almost, but I hold on to P14 and we go through. And I wasn't even surprised. I was just angry and disappointed because there's a glitch in the game, which I'm going to talk about in a separate video. But basically, long story short, we managed to get through a glitched Q1, and we're going to have to do the same thing again in Q2. But it won't be as bad because in Q2 we go for 2 runs anyway. And I've already done my first run on the soft compound tyre, so we're now going to ride on board with my best attempt on the ultra soft compound tyre. And I can tell you, again, the glitch occurred because Raikkonen is currently fastest of anybody by 1.5 seconds to the person in second place. From second place downwards, everyone is setting consistent lap times. From second to 10th, it's like 2/10 gap. It's super close, and the lap time is floating around a 1:29 or 1:28. It's in that margin. Raikkonen's done a 1:27.5 or something ridiculous. So forget Raikkonen for this one. We're going to focus on trying to get a 1:28.7.6. That's where we need to be. If we get that, we should get through comfortably. So look at the delta on the top right, and let's see how we improve respected to our previous best lap time of 1:30.6, which I did on soft compound tyres, which doesn't count because my lap was invalidated anyway. So far you can see we're 1.5 down on Kimi Raikkonen through sector 2, which in theory puts us bang on target to be very close with the big boys here. But let's see how this gets on, because there's still a long back straight and 2 more corners to go here. The good thing is that AI are not going to set a ridiculous lap time because I'm on the circuit, so they're not going to have that advantage. And we're currently now 1.7 up on my deltas. We've really attacked that hairpin apex there, getting on the power nice and early, going through the gears as we now go into the final corner. 5th gear action here, attacking the inside curb, let the car run out wide, open up the RS and up to the line, and it's second place for us. And that is a Q3 appearance, and as the rain starts to fall, the timing was absolutely impeccable, and I was very, very happy with that one, and a great session there. You can see there, look at how close everybody was, and I set a 28.6, which was my best lap of the weekend, and probably the best I could do in the dry, and we actually beat everybody around us, because if everything was fair, that would be our genuine pace. Legit, that would be our pace. So yeah, pretty much highlighting the obvious glitches there in this game. But nonetheless, we now move into our first Q3 of the season, and it was really pouring down in this session. And to be fair, the rain was scheduled to get worse, so we actually went out at the start of the session. Basically, I went out right at the beginning. I put about 3 laps of fuel in the car, so for 3 time laps, and it was going really well for us. The first lap was decent. We go P4. On our second attempt, we're going even faster. Still a couple of purple sectors as we now go through the final corner here, and we're 4/10 up. Do we go fastest? Not quite. P3, but we're only a 10th off the pace. So I went for 1 more lap, my final lap, considering the fuel I had on board, and the rain is starting to pick up here and get heavier and heavier. So we have to make this one count because we're running out of time and also running out of fuel. So as you can see, we're about 1/4 second up, really pushing this lap, getting absolutely perfect, purple in both sectors, and we have got a massive advantage of 4/10 or so going through the final corner on the power, losing the back end slightly, but we're going to run up to the line. Is it enough? And we go fastest of anybody, and at that moment I was celebrating, thinking I've done it, but then I pressed return to garage, which simulated the rest of the session, about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and somehow the AI improved and I dropped down to P5. So not ideal and a disappointing one to end the session, but nonetheless, Q3, we start from row 3, and hopefully we can attack these guys tomorrow in the race. Let's just jump into it here for round 3 for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3 mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles an hour, with DRS assisting the cars down the back straight before they brake into the sharp hairpin at turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty. You like a good stat. It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, there's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you've got turn 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Martinez and Perez, Ocon, Ericsson, Magnussen and Roman Grosjean, Leclerc, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Gasly, Bottas, Hartley, Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll, Van Dorn and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
It's race day for the Chinese Grand Prix, P5 on the grid, our best qualifying of the season, and it's going to be an interesting one, this, and one that I'm very much looking forward to, because it's going to be it's our first real big opportunity to try and score a big points finish this season. China's been a track for me that's been very good in the past on this year's game, and it's a chance for us to actually try and win the race. However, there is a massive spanner in the works because we have a hell of a lot of rain on the way. Now, I've already adjusted my strategy. You can see the rain is going to arrive around the halfway point / just before in the race. So with that in mind, I think it's going to be too far to go on just the ultras. We're going to have to come in for a set of tyres, and hopefully I think we should be fine to obviously go on the softs and come in for the inters around that sort of period. So strategy wise, it's going to be a pretty simple one stop on the dryers onto the inters in terms of what we do before the rain arrives. Fuel wise though, we're going to go a lap lighter and a lap under because we tend to save fuel during the wet period by short shifting, so we'll get that fuel back later on. So it's important to have a light car and be more aggressive and have a bit more of a competitive package in this initial phase of the Grand Prix. But with that being said, we are P5, row 3, we are on the sort of semi-clean line of the grid, so let's just see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. China's a big opportunity for points, so we've got to make it count. So let's just jump into it here for round 3 of the season for the Chinese Grand Prix. Right then, here we go. We're going to get ready for the 5 red lights here at Shanghai. Lights out and away we go. Not my greatest start, but it's definitely not that bad for sure. Raikkonen gets a brilliant launch in the Ferrari and he takes first place, it seems. Getting past both of the soft tyre Red Bulls. We're going to go up the inside of Verstappen and Hülkenberg there as they both go side by side. Distract them. I'm going to try and squeeze Verstappen into the apex. Verstappen having none of it, but we are going to find the grip around the outside on the ultra soft. Verstappen, like I said, on the soft compound tyre will be down on grip a little bit. But Raikkonen taking the lead in the Ferrari on the ultra soft. Ricciardo drops down to P2. It's a great start from us, an even better one from Kimi. And we're going to have the advantage on these ultras early on. I wonder if we can get past Ricciardo here on this first lap while he's trying to get those softs up to speed. That would be ideal. And we can maybe try and chase after Kimi Raikkonen. I think I've got pace here today. I do believe I'll have the pace. The weather's going to be the X factor in this entire equation. So I think before the rain arrives, we should have a little while. It should be around halfway through the race. We should have time to try and get past Ricciardo. First of all, though, here we go onto the back straight. Ricky has no slipstream on nobody. Overtake ERS engaged. Also some rich mix. We're going to get the momentum here. Pull to the inside. Down to the standard engine modes. Ricciardo brakes later than me, but we're going to pretty much mash him for brakes and then take the inside line, and we're into second place. So great start. Getting past both of the Red Bulls as we take out the bollard. And that is lap 1 in the books. Raikkonen leads the way. We're P2. So let's see how this race unfolds on... is that... Yeah, it's raining already. What the hell? There's drops of rain already falling. I think. Yeah, there's no... I just saw a drop of rain. I swear. Yeah, there's more rain. Okay, so the rain's coming down early on. That's a shocker. That was not in my plans. So I wonder how that's going to affect things. Yeah, it's definitely raining. I can see now. It's really starting to come down. Wow, okay, that's going to be an interesting one. We now are going to have to change our strategy a bit on the fly. We're going to have to try and stay out on these ultra softs and to all the inters, basically, because if we come in now, it's going to be suicide. It really is. Green flag behind, which means there might have been a yellow a little bit further back. Some sort of incident might have occurred.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
We've got a slow Williams or Renault there, sorry, is now green flag, so it seems to fix itself. We've got a different strategy option here.
Got that, confirmed.
The strategy changed onto softs on lap 3, but seeing this rain, I'm kind of not so sure anymore. We're going to have to try and stick it out if we can, I think. There's no way I'm coming in for a set of dries with this rain. It's going to be complete suicide. Raikkonen fastest lap 33.0 with 4 tenths of drift from that, as DRS now gets enabled for the first time in this Grand Prix. The grip is always starting to fade a little bit here. I can feel the car just a little bit less grippy than what it has been in the laps 1 and 2. This is going to be a very delicate period here on these ultras, which wear out a lot. So let's just try and focus on staying ahead of Ricciardo and holding on to the second place, and then we can work towards getting past Raikkonen, I think, on the inters, that's for sure. One thing's for sure, tyre temperatures won't be an issue now with this rain, as it will let the tyres cool down quite nicely. And I'm not actually driving that erratically, I'm being very smooth with my driving, because if I make a mistake I'm going to stick it in the wall, so it's important to just be nice and smooth with your driving in these conditions. Let's look at the tyre wear. It's not too bad after 3 laps. Tyre temperature's under control, especially the fronts, which is what you want. So far things are looking so good. Conditions now getting very delicate. Back end starting to slip out. We're having to be extra careful. You can see the lap times dropping as well, bit by bit. Overall racing lines getting a bit scruffy as well. And virtual safety car deployed. That's interesting. Do we use that as a chance to pit in, or do we stay out? Ocon's out of the race in the Force India. That's an interesting one. I think it's a little bit too early to pit. I think we're going to come out right at the back of the pack. I don't think there's enough of a gap, to be honest. Especially with the nature of this pit lane. If it was Canada or something where the pit lane's in your favour, then I'd come in, but this pit lane is not in your favour with that massive entry. So we're going to have to stay out, I think. Oh, Raikkonen comes in as well as the VSC ends. Look at that, the timing. And look at that, Raikkonen comes in. We're going to take the lead of the race. And a few others are actually coming in. So we're going to take first place in this Grand Prix. Ferrari have got it wrong. But then again, maybe his Ultra Softs might have been on the limit. So who knows? The grip is definitely thin at the moment. I'm struggling here. You just saw how wide I ran at turn 1. But we're leading the Chinese Grand Prix here. What a great start to this Grand Prix. But now we have to get the crossover period right onto the intermediates. So I'm going to get the inters selected and basically get ready for the time to switch. But now we've got to try and manage these tyres in these conditions. We've got to be careful now through turn 1. Grip is so thin. I cannot rape the gearbox and lose the back end. I have to keep my back end nice and straight on the car. Ricciardo's starting to close the gap a little bit. Obviously those softs have been in a lot better state than my ultras, and it's a better tyre to be on in this changing weather condition. But for now we're still doing a good job. And we're staying in front of the Honey Badger for now. Ooh, big wobble there. Whew. That was a back end moment. It just came out mid-corner as I straightened the car up. Very scary. Got to be careful now, this is so delicate. I'm way past the sell-on date on these tyres. So I'm just trying to nurse them now very carefully. Ricciardo's closing the gap, but not by much. We're managing it well. He's got about half a second on me in the last 2 laps, or since the VSC came in basically. Let's look at the tyres. You can see that my left rear is getting hot. I need these conditions to get worse now because my left rear hasn't got much left. Yellow flag in the middle sector as well. Something's gone wrong there. This is so delicate now. And Ricciardo's on the back of me. Bottas is out of the race. My teammate retires. Bottas out of the Chinese Grand Prix. Second retirement today along with Esteban Ocon. Back end there felt very light through that final corner. Might be a sign that it might be time for the inters. We'll confirm it on this lap though. Let's see what turn 1's like. Very careful through here. Yeah, there's very little grip. This could be the lap. I think this could be the lap.
A new strategy is available on the MFD. Confirmed.
There we go, strategy change announced. That's the sign when you need to switch over. So DRS disabled, shouldn't be too far behind, but it is time for the intermediates. I could feel it through turn 1, and it is most definitely time here. 5 seconds off my personal best through sector 2. Perfect timing for these ultras because I don't have much left in these. We've just got to try and fend off Ricciardo on this back straight in these conditions this lap, and then we should be home and dry. Ricciardo still is going to have DRS though, which is the annoying part, so we're going to have to try and race him on straight line speed down to the hairpin. Ricciardo gets the move done, and I can't really match him here. Ricciardo locks up though a little bit. We're going to get back underneath. No real space though, and we have to forfeit the position for now as we go into the pit lane. Ricciardo stays out for one more. We're going to come in for the inters here. I think it's time, and it makes sense. Both Red Bull cars stay out. I'm going to nurse the car into the pit lane, take it very easy, not risk speeding into the pit lane, and hope this pays off. Inters selected. Here we go. 2.3, good stop from the team there. I hope this is the right call. No one's coming in, but we did get offered the strategy switch to the inters, so I'm obeying what the team said to me here pretty much. Let's see what the track conditions are like. Up to speed. We're going to rejoin just in front of Stoffel Van Dorn here. He's on softs. What's the comparison like? Looks like it's okay for now. We'll confirm more as we go along over this lap. I can see the cars in front struggling on the dries. It seems to be right on the crossover period. But DRS should be disabled any moment now. There's spray on the screen as well. And look at that, we actually get great traction and pull away from Van Dorn there. So it's definitely intermediates now. As I lock up though quite heavily, you've got to be careful with that. I might just knock the brake bias back by 1 or by 2. There we go, just push that back a little bit. But definitely feels like I've not got this one wrong. This feels like a much better call than what I did at Brazil, for example. Here comes Van Dorn. He's going to pull to the inside. Very much a 50-50 situation with the tyres at the minute. Under braking, it's more for the dries. Under traction, it's better for the inters. You can see there as we pull away. And then through the corners, it's about 50-50 / dries for some of those guys. It's definitely on the crossover. You can see the traction I get there as cars start to come in. Of course, India there in the background coming to the pit lane. But I had to come in anyway because my ultras had no more laps in them. I had to just get rid of them. So it was a kind of a risk. But we've managed to save ourselves the pain of doing an extra pit stop. I just hope we've got enough pace to stay ahead of Ricciardo or get back in front of him. This lap has definitely been my lap. I've left Van Dorn behind. This time it really is intermediate. And we're catching up to Brendan Hartley here in front of us in the Toro Rosso. These are the crucial seconds that I need to make up to get back ahead of Ricciardo. My tyres will be a little bit older, but I'll have track position. DRS still not disabled though, which is quite surprising. Those inters quite worn already here. Temperatures look nice and good under control so far. You can see how slow the AI are going now. They're literally tiptoeing around corners here. On the power, out the hairpin, and look at that, everybody's coming in. It was time for the inters. Not everyone though. Hartley stays out, along with, I'm guessing that's Kimi Raikkonen. We're going to pick up some DRS here. Somehow, it's not been disabled yet. We've got a Red Bull leaving the pit lane. Look at that, it's going to be close. I'm not sure who that, I'm going to guess that's Ricciardo. Yes, it is. We're going to go on the outside of Brendan Hartley here. Ricciardo on inters. They're cold, so if we want to get past, now's our chance. I tried to go right the inside, but no way through. We push him through here. DRS now disabled. Here we go. This is our chance. We're a nice toasty ball of intermediates. Can we get past Ricciardo into the brake zone of turn 5? Not quite. Ricciardo stays in front, but we're going to hit Raikkonen for traffic, so I'm going to get a second bite of the cherry. Let's stay in hot lap ERS now to really try and have that straight line speed, which Ricciardo has over me at the minute. And we're going to try and close the gap. The conditions now are so tense. We have to be so careful because it's still not properly inters, so there's also a bit of a risk in it for us as well. But the track's definitely getting there. We lose the back end a little bit. Ricciardo getting the slipstream on Raikkonen. Kimi goes defensive. Ricciardo just finds the grip around the outside though. It's a fantastic move and gets it done on Raikkonen. We're going to switch back underneath. Carry the low line through the banking. I've just seen my fuel completely plummet down. We're losing fuel, so much fuel. How has that got so bad? I'm not really sure. But Ricciardo pretty much back into the net race lead now. So we've got work to do to try and catch him up. There's Verstappen in the pit lane. He's lost a hell of a lot of time. a lot more than his teammate. We're going to have to actually save fuel here and run some lean mix because the conditions ask for it as we run wide into turn 1 here. I've got to be careful onto the grass. Luckily, I managed to get on the brakes and not lose the back end, but we need to save some fuel. So we might be off the pace for now, but we should be able to come back at Ricciardo later on. The race will transition to full wet conditions later on, I think, as well. So we've still got that yet to come in this Grand Prix. After qualifying, I've got reasons to be confident in these conditions because as far as I'm concerned, I got pole and we dropped down to P5 due to the glitch pace. I think I had the pace for pole and I think I got pole because the conditions were getting worse. It made no sense. So I think this is my opportunity. We are starting to catch Ricciardo now and find some momentum and also adapt to these conditions. Heavy rain, as you would have heard, is 10 minutes away, so let's try and get hopefully past him before the heavy rain arrives. Right then, half a second behind Ricciardo here. We are very close, and turn 1 is my strongest point, along with sector 3. We're going to get very close through this section here on Danny Rick, but we have definitely got the edge in the inters, as I predicted and as I expected. And I think it's only a matter of time before you pull this move off. I think it should be the same in the full wet conditions. We've definitely got pace here, and I'm loving it for a change. And not having to worry about my tyres is phenomenal as well, because the inters conditions, they're pretty weird at the moment. It's only now, I'd say, the rain's now properly coming down, but it hasn't really been proper inters. It's been kind of a bit too dry for it. So now we're finally racing in proper intermediate conditions here. So now we're going to see what the grip levels are truly like. But I've definitely got the pace on Ricciardo here, 100%. And it's all about now just being patient, saving fuel, which is almost something I'm trying to do as well while I'm on it. And hopefully I can try and get past Ricciardo on this back straight. There's no DRS, so it's going to be harder to pass, so I need to be closer. Therefore, this banking has to be good. Has to be perfect. And it's not bad, but Ricciardo actually gets a great exit of his own. And we're going to have to wait a little bit longer here. I think turn 1 is going to be where it happens, I think. That's my guess. Ricciardo's just put in a couple of good laps, and we're starting to rack up a little bit of tyre wear. So we're going to have to be careful now and start managing, because I want to try and get to the wet weather period without having to come in for another set of inters. Again, the same issue as the first, and I thought that's going to be the theme of today. So time management is going to be critical, and we need to take care of them and avoid another set of inters if possible. Damn, that was a nice little drift there. I'm starting to close up to Ricciardo again here. I've implemented lead mix into my strategy, and it's working out because I'm saving fuel and also I'm better through traction zones. But Ricciardo is still getting good traction of his own. His tyres are in better nick and just better general wear. But as long as I stay close, going into the heavy rain period, we'll have a chance. Heavy rain has definitely arrived now. You can just see, compared to the last time I spoke, the intensity in the rain and the spray being kicked up, which is also one of the mods I have, the storm mod, to actually give it a realistic spray. You can definitely see the intensity has picked up here, and
a new strategy is available on the MFD.
There you go, on cue.
Copy that.
It's time for the wet weather tyres, it seems, this lap. So now's the time to put the pressure on Ricciardo this lap. My tyres are on the limit as well. Look at my left rear again, and my rear right, to be fair. Everything's on the limit, so the timing is impeccable, as it was last time. The conditions, though, all of a sudden, in the space of a lap, have just taken a turn for the worst. And it's now pretty much almost undrivable. Ricciardo comes in. We're going to have to follow him in here. Let's be careful. Warning for corner cutting there into the pit lane, which is something I don't agree with. Into the pit lane, get it all slowed down. There we go. No risks need to be taken. Right, this is it. Into the pit lane. Great stop from the crew. We actually closed up a little bit to Ricciardo there. A 2.3 stop. I managed to pull away from the clutch at perfect timing. So let's see. Maybe now's our chance on these cold tyres. This might be our best chance. So let's try and get up to speed if we can. Ricciardo might struggle. We need to adapt to the conditions rather than staying out on inters. That's brave. Very brave. You can see Ricciardo there on the back foot early on. The spray is incredible with this mod. We're going to get the run on Ricciardo here. Get very close. Get the power down early on. Here we go. Hot lap PRS. Are we close enough? Not quite. Ricciardo good on the brakes. Seems to have switched those tyres on a little bit better than the inters. But we are close again. Difference is this time our tyres will be equal in terms of wear. So let's see if now we can make something happen. The conditions are treacherous though. Absolutely treacherous. Car leaving the pit lane there. That's going to put Ricciardo off. It's Ericsson. We're going to use that. There's our opportunity. We go around the outside of Ricciardo. Ericsson as well going very wide there, but we are going to go on the outside of both of them. Inside of a turn 2. And that is what you call a calculated manoeuvre. Ricciardo stuck behind traffic. And we get the job done. And we're into the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix with 8 laps to go. Critical overtake. My pace is strong now. I've managed to get past Ricciardo. And the anchors are off. I'm pushing hard and I'm trying to break away. Gap at 1.6. I knew I had this pace. I just had to get past him. And to be fair, I was lining up a move on him. Even before Ericsson was making the pass, I was closing the gap down again. So it was going to happen. But now I can actually just do it and pull away. Right, let's bring this one home. We've definitely left Ricciardo for dead now. 4 laps to go. Gap to 2.5 seconds. Strong pace. And I've managed to pull away from the Honey Badger. Now it's all about securing this first place and just bringing it home in amongst these monsoon conditions. What a great race though. Really, really enjoyed it so far. A bit of everything and no glitch they are, at least not in race trim. And I can just drive at my pace, which I know is good enough to win races. You can see now most of the rain has actually vanished. And it's probably intermediate conditions, but you know, it's one of them ones where last lap of the Grand Prix, no real point. We've controlled it. Last few laps have just been taking it very easy. And managing to get to Ricciardo, managing my engine, making no mistakes, and it's worked out beautifully. We're going to this back straight for one more time. Let's burn up the engine and fuel here, one last bit. But it's been a very good race, a phenomenal performance. Even qualifying was great. Once we got through Q1, I knew we was going to be okay. And just getting through Q1, which is something I can't seem to do due to the glitches that I have in my game. But I can't complain. It's worked out okay. We've come out on top against various different moments of adversity this weekend. And through the final corner here we go. We're going to come through to win our first race since Austria last season for the Chinese Grand Prix victory. What a win, what a performance, what a weekend. Okay, so small disclaimer, I'm doing this in post-commentary, but here are your race results, guys. Unfortunately, I forgot to record me for some reason. I do it all the time, but this is the first time I ever forgot to record myself doing the live results. And unfortunately, there'll be no standings with no drivers or constructors. So just the race results for this one, and we'll get back onto that in the next episode. I do apologise for that. Results are on screen, and yeah, guys, I do apologise. But let's just jump into some interviews with Claire, and let's continue on with the video. Cheers.
Was there really any competition for you today? You were cutting your way through the field during the race. Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race. You performed better than last weekend. What changed? Great. Well, that's everything.
Right, so here we are then on the chassis screen. Now, I think it's time for a couple of decent upgrades. We have 1,520 points to spend. Therefore, we're going to try and purchase both of these major upgrades and get these on the car for Baku and have a nice big step in performance. You can see there in the bottom right how much we should improve. We should jump up to the top 3 teams at least in the chassis side of things, so that should be a good improvement for us, and then we can start working our way back down on these minor upgrades basically and fill out this part of the tree. In terms of engine power, I mean, we're okay. Even though we're full from bottom, we need to definitely do some work on the engine, and I think now that we've got these 2 chassis upgrades on the car, now we're going to focus on engine performance. So these will be the upgrades that we will be working on for the next few races basically. So let's see how it all pans out. I'm looking forward to it though, and hopefully we've got a nice competitive package going into Baku. But if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career Mode, then please do drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content, and also check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. Apart from that, guys, thank you for watching so much this episode of Career Mode, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.